Woof.
What is this one? Daisen and Colossus. This is the first of the two DevBlogs released on December 8th. Daisen and Colossus closed test 12.0. This is Japanese Tier 9 battleship Daisen, if I'm saying that right, and British Tier 8 aircraft carrier Colossus. Been added to the game for testing. Okay, why do we need another Tier 8 premium aircraft carrier? I don't know. So what's going on with this this battleship? So this is interesting. What is it? 8 guns. I do like that they, for the most part on the Japanese line, for most of the ships stick to the dual barrel turrets on everything but like the Tier 9 and 10. In the case of Izumo and Yamato style ships, but for the majority of the other ones, they stick to this 2-barrel design, which I like. So this is supposed to be a fast battleship with powerful guns and torpedo armament. Based on projects drawn up in the 1910s, it inherits a number of archaic features, including the placement of anti-mine guns in casemates. That's what these are then. So you got these anti-mine guns. Can't tell what caliber they are. This some type of other secondary gun here. I don't know. Be interesting to see here. It's distinguished by few but accurate main battery guns, and armament's also represented by torpedo tubes with a high range and torpedo damage. Battleship has a very high speed but a large turning circle. The consumables arsenal of the ship is represented by damage control and a repair party, which restores an increased number of hit points per second, as well as choice between fighter and spotter, with a significantly increased operating time. Daisen has poor armor for a Tier 9 battleship and large dimensions, which make the optimal gameplay happen at medium to long range. Just what we need is another battleship spamming from 20 kilometers. At the same time, her good speed allows, if necessary, to change flanks or dictate range of engagement. Okay, so until the beginning of the 20th century, large Japanese warships, namely battleships and cruisers, most often were named in honor of mountains. Okay, and so they're talking about the naming. According to the rules approved in 1905, the names of the mountains began being assigned to armored cruisers and then to the battle cruisers. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, our battleship Daisen is a development of a fast battle cruiser designed in 1916 as part of the first phase of the Navy's construction program known as the 8-8 program. It is assumed, now here they are assuming again, and you know, everybody's heard the story about what assuming does. If you haven't, just look up Bad News Bears and assume, and you'll understand very quickly. It's also assumed that it would have underwent a major modernization in 1939, retaining its name in honor of a volcanic mountain in southwestern Japan, considered sacred since ancient times, where a highly revered Buddhist monastery has been located since 8th century CE. Okay. Ship characteristics. Let's look at this. 69,300 health. That is kind of on the lower end, I think. So 4x2, 410 millimeter guns with a 20.6 kilometer range. Pretty standard things here. Pretty decent HE shell damage. Not like British levels, but not far off of it either. Good pin, 30% fire chance. So a little weak on the fire chance. It's interesting to note, though, look at the shell velocity on these. 869 and 870 on the AP. So these are rail guns. I'm wondering how that compares to Slava. You know, there's one way to find out. That's why we have Ship Tool. Right here, Slava. What is your shell speed? 870. So these are going to be, this is going to be the Japanese Slava, right? Right? Is that what this is going to be? The Japanese Slava. Okay. Let's see what else. A 27-second reload. I get the faster reload because of the lesser number of guns. But so yeah, you're going to be able to sit at 18 to 20 kilometers for sure with this thing with these rail guns. 2.10 sigma, so it has that Japanese high accuracy that you get on Yamato. That's Yamato sigma. The dispersion's average battleship dispersion. Geez. Here's another thing. Look at this. 180-degree turret traverse. 35 seconds. That's not normal Japanese feature. Japanese turrets typically have a bit of a slow traverse time, so that's interesting. Now let's look at these torpedo tubes. 4x4. 20,000, range 10 kilometer. Okay, that's 10 kilometer range. So I was worried whenever they talk about long range that it was going to be like 20 kilometer Shima torps. But okay, but still, these things hit hard right at 21,000 damage, and they are 10 kilometers. So woe be unto anything that gets close to this thing, because you got 8 on each side. Good Lord. Holy carp. Okay. Now, I want to look at these secondaries, because we're talking about, here's your casemate gun. So look at the secondaries on this thing. Now, the range is not going to be, I think the American battleships have a 7.5 base, which gets you out to something like 11.3. So these are probably going to be somewhere in the 10.5 to 10.8 range, roughly at the most. But you've got 20 127s, which is what you'd have. This is basically the same amount of guns that you would have on the American secondary battleships, or well, really all the American battleships, but with slightly better HE damage and an 8% fire chance. Jeez. But then you've got these casemate guns, which are meant to be anti-mine, but they're secondary armament. There's 16 of these damn things. Wow. With a 10% fire chance, and look at the shell velocity. So basically, you know, your typical American battleship has 10 127s on a side. So this basically adds, in addition to the 10 127s, it adds 8 140s, which are going to have some pin to them. That is nasty. I don't know how well a secondary build would work, but man, if anything does get close to this thing, 8 torps on a side and a ridiculous amount of secondaries. That could, with a ridiculous fire chance, that could be bad news. I mean, if you're in a DD, you damn well better not get spotted if you're less than 10 kilometers from this thing. Holy, it's crazy. 35 knot speed, but an 1100 meter, that's like Russian high tier battleship level turning circle. Yeah. Rudder shift to 16, it could be a lot worse. And let's see what our detectability is. 16.5. That's going to come down to about, what, 14.9, which is going to be somewhere around, what, about 13.5-ish with all, if you build it out. Holy cow, 13.5. That's going to be interesting. You have damage control, repair party, and your spotter. Now, your spotter has a, what is that, a 4-minute duration time and a 20% range. So that means, and a 90-second reload, but only 3 charges. So that means for 12 minutes of a 20-minute battle, your range is really, instead of, what is it, 20.6, it's really almost 25 kilometers. Okay, that's interesting. All right, well, there's the Japanese battleship Daisen. Here is the British aircraft carrier Colossus at tier 8. Okay, wonder what makes it The lead ship in a series of light naval aircraft carriers built in UK at height of World War II. So this is supposed to be a light carrier. Then why is it called the Colossus? If you're building a small carrier, I mean, I'm not saying you should call it the Dinky, but I mean, doesn't it seem counterintuitive to name a smaller carrier the Colossus? I'm just saying. Okay, anyway, built in the UK at height of World War II, so it's an intermediate link between high-speed aircraft, high-speed attack aircraft carriers and low-speed escort aircraft carriers. It is armed with 3 types of squadrons: attack aircraft with AP rockets, torp bombers, and bombers that drop HE bombs in level flight. Okay. Attack aircraft rockets have good armor pen, which allow them to do good damage to various types of targets. The torp bombers have good health pool but low speed, and the squadron contains only 2 attacking flights of 3 aircraft. Okay. The bombers carry a large number of high explosive bombs, but also have a large spread of lips. So these are level, I'm guessing by level flight bombers. There's not going to be this dive bombing and all. You're just going to be, you're going to drop your bombs. Okay. Let's see what else. At the same time, the aircraft carrier itself has a low speed, which will make it difficult to quickly change position. She also has no secondary armament and weak air defense. What does that mean for a carrier? That you'll only shoot down most of the planes that come near you instead of all of them? I'm not sure what that quite means. Let's look at the characteristics of this bad boy. 47,600 health. Here's your airstrike. We're not worried about that. AA defense. 6x4, 40 millimeters, 19x1, 40 millimeters. So basically you have a mid-range 438 damage per second with a 3.5 kilometer range. And that's it. That's interesting. You've got 25 knots, 890 range. So only 25 knots. What's your concealment? 11.4. So it depends on if you build in the concealment on this thing. If you take concealment in some way, shape, or form, it'll be like 10.3. Yeah, about 10.3. Not sure if you can might be able to get better than that, I think, if you take both skills, but we'll see. The aircraft. So the attack aircraft have 1,460 hit points, 169 knot cruising, and 209 knot maximum speed. That's pretty fast. So you got you got 3 planes in the attacking flight, and then you got three attacks. You got 9 planes, so 3 attack squadrons. 83-second restoration, 12 on deck. So you get 6 rockets. So you're putting out 18 rockets on these things with a 3,400 damage. If these things can Citadel stuff being AP rockets, you can do a lot of damage. What else? Torpedo bombers. 2060 health, but only 127 knot cruising and 162 max speed. Here you've only got 2 attack flights of 3, which is 3 torps. They're fairly slow. Pretty standard. Then you have, now they're calling these dive bombers. If they're level flight, how do you call them dive bombers? I think it's just a naming convention, because if they're level flight bombers, they're not dive bombers. Hit points 2230, cruising speed 130, max speed 165, so barely any faster than the torpedo bombers. 3 aircraft in an attacking flight and 9 per squadron, so you get 3 attack flights. 76-second restoration, 12 on deck. So 6 bombs in a payload, so that gives you 18 bombs that you're dropping, but you've got a big ellipse. We'll see how that works. 27% fire chance. That's pretty much it. Nothing looks. I don't see anything on this, if I'm a carrier player, that makes me say, oh yeah, I got to go out and get that and play that over other things. I mean, why would you want to play this when you've got Kaga and Chikhalov? I mean, what reason would you really have to play this other than just a challenge if you like a challenge? So there's that. That's the Tier 8 British Colossus aircraft carrier. And then you have the Tier 9 Japanese battleship Daisen, which actually does look interesting. So be interesting to see how that works out. So that's your first dev blog from December 8th. And now you've got a second one from December 8th. This is early access to the U.S. hybrid battleships, a unique Pan-Asian commander, airship escort, and other new features. So let's see what's in here. Pan-Asian unique commander and Lunar New Year celebration. Okay, this is the first update of 2023. As part of this event, a new collection, The Age of Sa Zinbing, will appear in the game, recounting the biography of this famous admiral as well as the naval history of China in the era of armor and steam. So this will be a new collection, 5 sections, 4 elements each. Completing sections get you a day of premium count, and the reward will be this captain. So the commander has improved skills. For aircraft carriers, he has improved engine boost, 7.5 instead of 5%. For battleships, improved vigilance, plus 35% instead of 25%. And then cruisers and destroyers, consumable specialist of minus 12.5 on the cooldown instead of minus 10, and consumables enhancement of plus 12.5 on the action time instead of plus 10. So interesting. And unique talents, increased combat readiness triggered once per battle upon obtaining the combat scout achievement. Not sure what that is. And reduces squadron prep time and main battery reload by 20%. Not sure what a combat scout achievement is. I'll have to look that up. Torpedo Master triggers once per battle when scoring 6 torpedo hits and increases the speed of torpedoes by 5%, reduces cool down of the torpedo reload acceleration consumable by 25%, and adds a charge. Okay. Standby stocks triggers upon the receipt of every 1.5 million potential damage and reduces the consumable reload by 6.5%. Okay. Interesting. So it looks like you can get the containers by various things, plus possibly in the armory and premium shop. So cool. There's what they look like. Nice. Also, a number of interface improvements have been made to the collection section in the port. In particular, the ability to go to the armory directly from the collection screen to purchase corresponding containers has been added. That's nice. That's pretty nice. Very good. So in Update 12, the Dirigible Derby temporary battle type will return with the new title Airship Escort. Okay, here's some pictures of it. Big deal. The rules are similar to the event that took place in Update 11.1. Each team has an invulnerable airship moving along a fixed route. The task of each team is to be the first to escort their airship to the end of the route or to destroy all enemy ships. Airship escorts are in for a number of improvements. Tier 8 to 10 ships of all types will be able to participate in a 12 by 12 format. Battles will take place on a larger pool of maps, and the airship routes will be updated on a number of old ones. Now, if your team speeds up an allied airship and slows down the enemy one at the same time, the allied airship will receive an additional acceleration. And that change makes it so the battle will not drag on when one of the teams was able to gain a serious advantage. At the same time, interesting battles in which the forces of the opponents are equal will last a little longer due to the reduction in the base speed of the airships. Okay. Escorting an allied airship as well as slowing down the enemy will bring additional experience and credits. Then updated and improved combat interface. Okay. You can get special achievements for the battle type and earn community tokens. ASW armament for they're adding ASW armament for Dutch cruisers. Depth charge weapons. So it looks like they are getting depth charges, not attack flights. These depth charges. And you've got what number of bombs in it? Well, no, this says added depth charge weapons for the researchable Dutch cruiser. So this says number of charges 2, number of bombs in charge 4, or 6 or 8, depending on the tier, and then back to 4 when you get to tier 9 and 10, except you get 5,000 damage instead of 2,000. So you get less, but you get more damage. Interesting. So ASW armament for Dutch cruisers is being added. Ranked battles. Patch 12 will kick off Ranked Season 10, which will run until the end of Update 12.1. Battles will be held in 6 versus 6 format of the following tiers. Bronze League is tier 6, Silver is tier 8, Gold is tier 9 and 10. All ship types except submarines will be able to participate. Great, so carriers are in there. In the Gold and Bronze League, the retention of 1 star in the losing team by a player who earned the most experience has returned, and the number of stars required to pass these leagues will change accordingly. Details will be released at a later date. So more brawls. In 12.0, there will be 2 brawls. First one, January 30th, February 5th, 6 versus 6, tier 8 ships, 1 aircraft carrier max, 3 battleships max. So you can have no more than 3 battleship or 3 cruisers or 3 destroyers max. No more than 1 submarine. Great. So you can have a carrier and a submarine on every team. Great. 2 of your 6 ships can be carriers and submarines. Wonderful. Second brawl, 6 to 12 February. 6v6 on tier 10 ships. Again, same rules. 1 carrier and 1 submarine maximum are allowed. Divisions are not allowed in either one. So just so you know. Then, what else? Adding and editing content. It will begin early access to researchable American hybrid battleships. In our event, the Stormy Sky permanent camos for Nebraska, Delaware, and Louisiana and the American battleships commemorative flag have been added to the game. The Port of New York has also been updated. So here's your tier 10 Louisiana. Not a bad looking camo. Your flag. Nice. Here's New York. That looks more like Golden Gate Bridge than it does New York. I know it's not, but it's funny. More New York port stuff. Now that looks like New York. A Mid-Autumn Festival permanent camouflage, or the Mid-Autumn Festival permanent camouflages for Dunkirk, Prince Eugen, Kaga, and Warspite have been updated. Interesting. I like the red. I just don't particularly like that as a whole. It's okay. I'd give that about, on my scale of 5 being the best camo, I'd give that maybe a 2.5. Maybe a 3 at best, but probably a 2.5. It's just kind of so. The update numbering will change. The first date of the year will be numbered 12.0. So, animation of all flags in the games has been updated. Their movements more realistic, lighting been improved, making them look like real fabric. Adding the following to the game, and by the way, congratulations again, art department. So I'm sure that'll be awesome. Added to the game the following: double flavor hot pot, braised shrimps, and braised fish in brown sauce. Oh. Okay. All right. I don't even know. I guess these are supposed to be flags. I really don't know. That's my best guess anyway. All right. Dumpling expendable camouflage. Oh, literally. Okay. Commemorative flags for Colossus, Illinois, and Daisen. Achievement commemorative flag, Eat, Play, Talk 2023. Achievements, Salamander and Hurricane Salamander. Okay. Not sure what they'll be, but okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, that's it. That is it for the December 8th DevBlog. So we've gone over quite a few things here with some new camouflages that aren't particularly beautiful, updates to the Port of New York, the addition of the battleships, the American hybrid battleships, I guess you'd call them. Talked about Brawls, ranked battles, the addition of ASW for Dutch cruisers, and what else? The Airship Escort mode coming back. That's about it. The new that's it. The new Pan-Asian Commander. That's what I missed. So yeah, that is your 2 DevBlogs for December 8th. So wow, those were that was a lot. That was a lot to talk about. So let's go over to World of Warships now and see if we can at least get a game in before we start talking about Santa containers. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.